Hi there and welcome to Morgan, Brayton, and other people. You know, there are a few things in life worth fighting for. Reproductive rights, love, your right to party. Now, I don't want to start an argument over this, but I sometimes feel like we're too quick to fight.
No, we're not.
See? And for a pacifist like me, it sometimes just gets to be a little much. Now, I should make clear that I do consider myself a lover, not a fighter. But if you harm an animal or you touch my family, I will beat you to death with your own shoe and make it look like an accident. So, everybody to your corners, gloves on, mouth guards in. Today on the show, we're talking about fighting. Ladies!
I'm Morgan.
I feel like I might have frightened some of you now.
Animals, I love your family. I'm not even wearing shoes.
Perfect. It's always a good plan around me. No, but that's one of the things that sets me off, though. You know, we all have our things, like our triggers of, like, I'm just a peace-loving hippie until there's animals involved, and then Hulk out.
Animals before family.
I didn't even mention family.
You're my cat. What?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, now, speaking of cats, I want to draw attention to our attitude adjuster for today's show. In keeping with today's theme, I've brought us Fighting Irish Cream coffee. It's made with my very own hands.
So good.
It's vegan. I know. Right after I was petting the cats, and it's a vegan Irish cream coffee. So
it's delicious. Cheers.
And
It's like Irish.
I'm
just so glad there's cats all over the mug.
I think everything tastes better in cat mugs. So.
That's good. That's nice.
Yeah,
that's delicious.
Nice. When was the last time you were in a fight?
Like a physical fight?
Sure, let's go with physical fight.
I've never been in a physical altercation of any kind except
Why
with
do
my
I
brothers.
find that really hard to believe?
I know, because I'm a chicken. Like, if anybody's ever threatened me, I've been like, I'll take you shopping. I'll buy you whatever you want. I don't want to get hit. I don't want to hit anybody. Yeah. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing.
If you feel threatened, you will take the person shopping
I will take
and
them
buy
shopping.
them whatever they want. Is that what you'll do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to punch you in the face right now.
I feel like I want to threaten you a lot right now.
No, I'm just a baby. It's never happened, so I don't know it. I box now in training. That's what I do for working out.
Are these your gloves?
Those are my boxing gloves, everybody.
Those are like bigger than you.
I know, and they're heavy, but they work, and they, protect my hands. But I am now sparring with my trainer, and every now and then she clocks me a little bit, and I giggle because I just think it's silly that I'm getting punched in the face by the super hot girl that I'm in love with. Hi, Anna. But no, it's true. When I go to hit her, I can't do it. Like once I think I've made contact and I immediately apologize. So it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I felt so bad.
Remember when you hit her by accident?
I didn't even hit her that time, heroin in her eye, and then she made me pay the whole rest of the class, but it was fine. They want the two of us to fight each other. Like a real
I want to see that.
And I said, if there's anyone that will make you comfortable with punching someone, it's me.
Yeah, because apparently Erica has no problem with it at all.
Really?
But I don't know if I could do it. We're gonna try, we're gonna train for it, and we're gonna see what happens, but I don't know.
I don't know why I was
I'll
just
be like,
about to.
I don't want to. I know, she's just gonna smack
Just
me.
to see if
I
can
love
make her
that you
angry.
two are boxing together, that you're taking
fun.
boxing together. That's pretty fun.
It's really good.
So you have no problem hitting people?
No.
Like just across the board or in boxing?
Well, I don't go around the streets just whack. But like, if there's like an altercation, I have.
Do you step into other people's altercations?
I certainly do, quite often. I grew up in a very rough hood.
Okay.
So yeah, I got in my first fight when I was probably in grade 2. Somebody was picking on my sister. And I didn't have a cat to defend, so I was like, oh, fine, my sister. So I got the old fisticuffs up. Yeah, I was a little scrapper.
And you have a judo background now.
Yes. I was in karate for many, many years and also fought my best friend.
I was gonna say.
My first ever tournament was my best friend and I, and she was very bruised the next day.
I feel like I would never want to fight a woman.
No, women are
They get scrappy.
awful.
And it never ends.
There's no rules.
Like a fight between men ends.
Absolutely.
When one is done, that's
and
the
then
end
they
of the
shake
fight.
hands and they hug and they go
Right.
for a beer.
Yeah,
and
if I-
then will torture you for the rest of their lives.
We don't drop it.
Yeah, if
we're
I
not.
fought that girl, I would still be fighting her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We'd be like, Katie Ellen, we gotta go because we have we're on set, you're in hair and makeup, and you'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We just actually fell down, speaking of which, a
real
total
big
rabbit
tunnel.
hole of YouTube videos, which I didn't even know was a thing, but this is a thing. Girls fighting on YouTube.
They're brutal.
It's really
There's like thousands of videos with millions of views. And I sort of felt like, you know, like fight like a girl and all those expressions that were like, no.
Hair.
They get really rough.
Throwing down. Like,
Yeah, they're
there's
like
a lot of
ripping
hair
out
pulling.
weaves and like
almost
slapping
never-
people.
Yeah.
You almost never get sucker punched by a woman though, because she's got to take her earrings off. So you know.
You can hear.
And her nails. Like,
Somebody hold my precious cell phone.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Well, there's enough people with cell phones there. There's so many like that. Who does that though? People are fighting. Let's all stand around and watch and film
Teenagers.
it.
Teenagers.
It was
does it.
adults too, though. There's a lot of teenagers, but it was a lot of adults. I was surprised by it. Now you said something. So somebody was bothering your sister, and that's how you got in a fight. And I think that's a pretty common thing, right?
Yeah.
The only
People who
time I
don't have
almost did was to not protect my brother. I'll be clear, a little bit drunk. I know that's super unlike me. It's very unlike me. And this man, my brother had just gotten some terrible news, and we were outside of a bar, really upset, and this man kept asking him for money and wouldn't leave him alone, and then I just snapped, and like the bouncer like pulled me off of it. And I didn't actually it was really, really bad. Wow. And it was just to defend my sweet little brother. Aww. Yeah, I know. But that's the only time I've ever, I'll do it for somebody else, but for myself, I literally will buy you anything you want. So you don't hit me in the face. Just don't hit me in the face.
Same way. I don't fight unless it's like they're hurting someone I love, whether it be my family or my friend. Like one of the only times that I've actually really physically harmed the other person was when I was 10 years old, and this little kid was just bullying my little sister to no end, and I was like, I've had enough. So one time, we're walking home, I'm walking with you, my sister, and then she's like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? And then he came up to us, and I was like, you need to step off, can't mess with my sister anymore. And then he came at me, and we got into a real punchy fight, and then I punched him right in his face and broke his nose.
And then you said, it's Fatima's world,
It's
bitch.
Fatima's world.
I was waiting for it. I was like, what were you saying? It's Fatima's world. All right, we've got to take a break. I'm going to suck up to Fatima so that she doesn't break my face. Wait, who was that guy thinking? Who steps up to Fatima?
Not me.
No.
They don't know. They don't know. We'll be right back with more Morgan Brayton and other people. Welcome back to Morgan Brayton and Other People. We're talking about fighting on the show today. We've just heard about everyone's history of fisticuffs, fist fights, but there are lots of other kinds of. That's how I fight. Backwards like that. It's very dangerous for me. I know. I'm like a cartoon. I've only been in 2 fights in my life, and it was both physical fights, and it was both when I was a kid, and they were both with boys.
Oh.
Yeah. One was my neighbor, and we were fighting, and then his mom came out, and he got in trouble for hitting a girl. And I just remember thinking, that's stupid, because I was kicking his ass. But I just remember thinking, how is that fair, right?
Oh, we're so different. I would have been like, yeah, don't fight girls.
Right.
You're in
Although I
trouble.
do say to my son, because I forget what happened, there was some kind of conversation about that, and I was like, you never, ever hit a woman. He's like, what if she hits me? And I'm like, I don't care. You leave the room, you do whatever you do, you never, ever hit a woman. So only applies to that neighbor. He's the only guy. But what about other kinds of fighting? Because we were saying earlier that, we used to fist fight, or your family in particular, when you were kids. But it's changed now. Talk about that.
Yeah, I have a lot of siblings. I come from a very large brood, which I'm the eldest, and there's teenagers that now, instead of when me and my sister, who are closer in age, used to fight, we'd be physically fighting or pull pranks on each other or something. But now my younger siblings, they fight over social media. Right. So when one of them pisses them off, they're like, they took the last cookie. And then she go to Twitter and be like, what's the worst? When little brothers take your
And then the whole cookie war on
it's
Twitter.
big Twitter cookie war, #chocolate chips. It's weird how that's what happens now. Kids will fight over social media. Not only kids, adults, grown adults.
Haven't you?
Fighting over social media or
Some
cookies.
Twitter issues.
Oh, I did have some here comes my speech impediment. Right-wing
You guys,
Christians.
she's diabetic. Don't hold it against her.
Right-wing Christians that went after me.
Really?
Yeah, it was during that whole Chick-fil-A thing where anyways, so I said something about Chick-fil-A being stupid because of their stance, and then I was on vacation. I turned on my phone. I had 300 notifications, and I was like, I'm blowing up, and then I was like, oh no, and like all these people were like, we're gonna pray for you, and like and then I couldn't even follow who liked me and who didn't. Like I was just, you know, when they like reference and they're like at Erica, and I was like, oh, no idea what's going on.
Just blocking everybody.
Yeah.
That's how it is now, though. Everybody just hides behind their phones and their computers and say awful, nasty things to people without any bravery of actually attacking somebody.
That's why I don't engage anymore. Like, you know, anytime you feel like you're reading something and you read a comment and you're like, I'm gonna comment, and then I was like, don't be that person. Delete, 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 because those people are insane. And in a real fight, they would get pummeled.
They would.
Yeah. Well, but there's some people that just, online or otherwise, that's their thing. They want to argue with you. Whether I think they feel like they're playing devil's advocate and they're showing how intellectual they are
playing
by
annoying
arguing,
advocate.
Right? And I gotta say, it's usually dudes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what about, had you thought about it this way? And it's like, oh, why are you arguing with me? I posted a picture of a cat. There's no fighting about this. It's cute. End of story. No, but that is now the way that you can say anything you want to anybody online and just be really bold behind your screen. But I bet, if you face to face with that person,
you would never say anything.
So bold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it.
But how do you resist? Because that's a hard. I'm always like, I'm not going to say anything. Not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've started to do that.
I'm so much happier. I'm like, I can't believe this, and then I'm like, oh, stop. It would be like if every morning I went to this one store and everybody yelled at me. It's like, don't go to that store, idiot.
Yeah. It's
So I'm
terrible
like-
though, because when you were talking about that people watch these fight videos, I'm like, that's ridiculous. But I'm a comment fight voyeur. I never participate, but I read them all.
You do?
Yeah.
Why?
I
What
have
do you
no
like?
idea.
Okay.
I find them so compelling.
Yeah.
As soon as I see there's 47 comments, I'm like, oh God, I got to start from that beginning.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
get into
gosh.
the juice of that. Even when I don't know the people, I just want to know how nasty other people can be.
Yeah.
Or what they're talking about even.
It's so
I
great.
do. I think I can get up on my little high horse too and be like, oh, well, you're both so dumb.
Right, right.
little
But see, if it is like,
self-boost.
if it's two people arguing or like a couple of people, then I think it can often be interesting. When it's just the stupid comments, the whole, just don't read the comments. But when it's an actual intellectual or otherwise conversation, I do find that interesting. But even so, I'm like, oh, stay out of it, Brayton.
The
Stay
worst
out of
is when
it.
they like hijack your status and then they're like
Right.
two strangers are just having it out
Yes.
over like how cute cats are or something.
And then it turns into bullying, and that's where it becomes
Very
bad.
cute.
Is when it just suddenly turns into people bullying other people, and that's the crappy thing about social media. I think we can all say is that there's no, like you were saying about your sister having a hard time at school. Back then, she at least got the safety of going home and being away from it, and now you can't. Right now, you're at home and you go on your Facebook and you're being attacked on
All
that,
these
and your
kids have
phone's blowing up.
phones
Yeah.
too, so they're always on
There's
Facebook.
no escape from it anymore.
Except turn off the phone. Like this is the part that like people are like,
I know, it's
what do
easier
we
said
do?
than done,
And it's
but-
like, I don't know.
When you're a
wireless
12-year-old
modem.
little girl though, or whatever, like you know what I mean, or an adult. Even if I had somebody that I was having issues with, I couldn't. That's not true. I actually recently had something happen, and I just completely left the conversation, and I never engaged again, and I completely left it alone.
Everybody
I'm a
thought
much
you
bigger
backed
person
down.
than everybody else.
Everybody thought you backed
no,
down and
you
were
know
a
what I
loser.
thought? I thought that at one point, and then I thought, no, if I re-engaged, then it seems more important to me than it is, and it was so unimportant.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not even going to bother, because then they were like, come back to the conversation, and I was like, no, because then it's allowing you to think that you didn't do anything wrong, and you did, and I just don't need to engage in it.
That's the difference between being an adult and being a young person, right? And it's true, like we always say that, when we were kids, you do something stupid, maybe your friend tells a few other people at school, maybe they tell everybody, and for a few days you're an idiot, but then it goes away. Like it's not on the internet forever, and I think that's completely changed everything.
Yeah.
You know what I hate though? Everybody hates an unfair fight, right? Yeah. That's not cool. And I think all of these, like the Snapchat and those kinds of things where it happens and then it goes away and there's no trace of it, like I don't know if you guys know about Ask FM, Ask.fm. It's this website, you can have a page, and so if I have a page and it's like Morgan Brayton, and you can ask me anything, and I can answer. You can have an account and you can say, oh, Erica wants to know what your favorite color is, but you can also be completely anonymous, totally untraceable, and post things like, why does everybody hate you? And why don't you kill yourself? And things like that, which is, and there have been totally suicides attached to, things that have happened on this site. And I'm just like, that is not a fair fight. That is not a fair fight if you can't actually have any idea or trace the person in it, and no tracing the bullying either.
Yeah.
So
No, it's not right.
if you're gonna say mean things, say it to my face in the commercial break, which we're gonna take right now, and we'll be right back with more Morgan Brayton and Other People. Welcome back to Morgan Brayton and Other People. We're talking fighting on the show today, and of course we have to talk about some of the most intense fighting on the planet, family fighting, family feuds. Oh my God, I would like to see your family on the Family Feud.
I want our family to be on the Family Feud. I love that show.
I would not get around to answering any questions.
No, we just fight.
Tweeting angry things to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
My sister just gave the stupidest answer on the Feud.
Yeah.
Even Steve Harvey's mad.
Exactly. That's exactly what the tweet would say, though.
Right. You'll fight somebody to protect your family, but do they also fight with each other?
Oh, that's all they do.
Really?
That's all they do is fight. 3 of my younger siblings still live at home. 2 of them are constantly at each other's throats. The middle one could care less. But the other 2, they're like screaming at each other, and then my mom is screaming at them to shut up, and then they start screaming at my mom, and then everybody's screaming at each other, and then the little guy's like, the quiet one is like, all right, everybody shut up. We have neighbors.
And the funny thing about that is, and I'm older than obviously your younger siblings who are still living at home by about 4 years.
So young.
I never, when my parents came in and told us to be quiet, there was no screaming back at my parents. There was no.
We would be killed.
There was no recourse once they were involved. And my brothers and I fought like crazy growing up. Yeah. But there was never, once my parents stepped in, it was bad and you lock it down. My mom a little bit, we didn't give her back. We just necessarily didn't as quickly. We didn't stop as quickly, but we never went back at her. And you see that with kids now. Yeah. Like when I'm, it's so crazy.
Because you can't hit them.
You know, I believe that because we were spanked. We were spanked, and I that's probably why I shouldn't have children, because I am a firm believer in spanking. I just am. Because we're better than children.
Anymore. Yeah. There you go.
I'm not aware of beating your children.
We are better than children.
Spanking is different.
We just glossed over that line. Because we are better than children.
Hashtag better than children.
But if you start spanking at a very early age, then you don't have to do it past the age of about 3.
Yeah, get them in while they're young.
You mean business. When I was 12, I tried to speak back to my mom. Like, I see how people talk, teenage girls talk to their mom, and I'm like, I once said to my mom, well, you buy your lunch, because I wanted lunch money. Oh my God, she just so fat, no remorse. Like, I was like, oh my God, and I looked back to think she would be like, I'm so sorry, and my mom was like, try me again, bitch. And I was like, ah. Like, I never would speak back to my parents, but them at each other, like, fighting was.
Really? Your parents?
It was not Christmas until someone yelled, "Christmas is canceled." Like, that is how you knew it was time to cut the turkey, because that's what happened. Someone would leave, pack their bags. Someone was always packing their bags and leaving. So.
Oh, God. I know what I'm doing December 25th this year.
Katie, now you have brothers too.
Yeah.
You're the only girl in your family?
Yeah, that's right.
Did you fight, argue, but also physically fight with your brothers?
Oh, very close, particularly with my middle brother, and we would only physically fight if we were bored or playing, because that's how boys play.
Like wrestling kind of, yeah,
for sure. And if we fought, that you knew it was serious, because we'd be like, well, I'm not talking to you. Separate corners.
Really? Okay.
Ice them out. I like it.
Yeah. It would never last very long, because then we'd be like, you want to wrestle?
I'm super bored. Do you want to wrestle?
But anything that was physical was fun.
Yeah.
Right? Because I grew up an only child, so I didn't have that sibling fight thing. And I'm always horrified when I hear the stories. Like, my wife actually, her sister locked herself in the bathroom, and my wife whipped a knife under the, the clearance, and it cut her toe open, and she had to get stitches and everything.
But now she's got the weapon. That's not very smart.
She didn't think it through, I don't think. I don't think she really planned it. Yeah. My ex brother pushed him down the stairs. Yeah. Broke his arm. It's intense.
Between my brothers, the physicality would be more intense, but it didn't start in anger, I don't think. Sometimes it would just get carried away.
Yeah.
And as they grow up, and then they start to realize, I can actually really hurt
somebody.
Yeah.
Fighting in relationships. Have you ever physically fought?
I had one relationship where I didn't, but it was my first girlfriend, and she was younger, and she'd come from a very tumultuous relationship, so it was all she knew. It was She knew that it was a fight if somebody was getting physically accosted, and she, like, our very first fight, she like went to slam me up against the wall, and I was like, oh no 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 no, this is not, like, we can fight, we can yell at each other, we can call each other names, but if it ever does this again, I'm hitting the road. And then it didn't happen again. That was fine. But but screaming, I'm pretty.
You're scrappy.
I
at
like,
the best of times, relationships.
I'm kind of a bitch. Yeah. So I definitely I like a fight. I don't know why. I like the drama of it, and I like the makeup of it. I like the victim part of it for me. If I know I'm completely in the right.
Do you cry in the mirror?
Oh,
do you cry in the mirror?
I practice in the shower. I do. Sometimes when I know I want to fight and I know I have something we can fight about, I'll like reenact it in the shower.
And you are single.
I know.
Understand this.
I know.
The mystery continues.
I know. Email out TV if you're interested, ladies, because I know. I'm messed. I think it's just because I'm an actor, I'm a performer, and everything is a stage to me. So if I can be in a dramatic fight, like, oh, man, last Pride, my ex and I got in and it was actually really sad and pathetic and awful at the end of the day, but at the time it felt invigorating. We were in the middle of a party, like literally on the dance floor, having a huge fight, and like all my friends were. I wish it was a dance off. I wish it was atrocious and embarrassing. But at the time, I was like, I think everybody's watching us right now. This is amazing.
That was a good thing.
I know.
She's like, I'm gonna get a call back for sure.
I know. This role is mine. This role of crazy girlfriend is mine.
Hands down, no competition.
I hate that because my parents were big make a scene fighters, and so I'm always like, everything's fine. Like if we're out in public and like Jay and I are having a little bit of a, and I'm like, let's just talk about this when we get home.
Right.
Like I don't like at all bringing other people into it.
In my family growing up, no fighting. No fighting. Parents should not have been married. Terrible marriage. Not like just bad. But nobody fought. And no, it was like anytime there was a fight started, everything got quiet. So I was 20 before I had my first like relationship, full-on argument, and it was the best because I'd been like, oh, this guy, he was an idiot, and I was, putting up with him, and then one day I just snapped, and we were in a play together, and we were back in the alley rehearsing, and I snapped, and I was like, if you think I am going on stage with you after you, and I don't know why, but there was a lot of this.
She was having a seizure.
And I for like 10 minutes, and it just came out, and I was like, oh, and I felt so good afterwards. And I went, oh, that was like 20 years of built up whatever coming out. I go, that's why people just argue and get it out.
Yeah.
Let it
Yeah,
out.
That was just your body like getting it out. It's like, yes, I get to come out now.
That's right.
You know what I never understand? I just saw this watching something on Netflix. It's like this couple that's like fighting, and then like mid-fight,
They start making
out. And I'm like,
I can't have
That
sex.
only happens in the movies.
yeah, like
How does
It's
that?
true.
Yeah, it never happens in real life.
But it happens afterwards.
No, for me.
Yeah.
Like makeup.
That's part of fighting.
Really?
Makeup
The
sex.
makeup sex?
For
But
sure.
how, is it because everything's so heightened, and then the gears kind of shift, and that's still heightened, so you go for
what
it?
is the time? Like how
what's
soon after has someone said they're wrong, and then you're like, let's have sex, or is it just like?
Well, that'll turn you on right there.
feel like
Somebody
it's just
admitting they're
like-
wrong is like, yeah.
That's
probably
probably the most
invigorating.
beautiful thing I've ever heard.
yeah. I don't understand that. I think
You get kind of wrung out. You know,
Right.
you're sort of like there's nothing left to say, and you're like you're just down to the kind of like animal. Like it's just I'm tired. Let's just do this great thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then is that just it? Like, and then the fight just goes away? Because I can't do that. I'm too like when I'm mad or when I've been upset or something, it emotionally takes me a while. Because sex for me is, I mean, even though I'll pretty much do it all the time anywhere. I know. I was like, and I was like, nope. No, if I'm in a relationship with somebody and we have emotional feelings, the minute that's involved, it takes me a really long time to kind of rally back into like I can cuddle and I can kiss and I can like have that makeup, but if anybody tries to make a move, I'd be like, how can you do that after we just had this huge fight? right? Like
Right.
To me, it's just like extra juice. It's like I'm gonna get you. You'll pay with sex.
Ever. If things don't go with you, Kevin, you need to call me.
Got you on speed dial.
I think you are the best, period. You're the best sister. She will kick anybody's ass for you. Forget about this whole, like, I'm going to get you. Oh, hashtag you will pay with sex. All right. We're out of time. Oh, I want to hear more about that. Thank you for being here with us today on Morgan, Brayton, and Other People. Go back to your corners. Everybody, just get along. We'll see you next time. Oh, dear.
That was funny. It also makes it more juicy. That's my quote.
A lot of quotes more in this episode.
No, we got a lot of
Do you ever, like, after sex,